Hello, assalamu alaikum. I'm Shubho. In my last video, I have shown you about the HTTP request, and from HTTP request, I have separated two element method and URL. So, on basis of method and URL, I have defined different CRUD operations, code, and different code segment. Now, today in this video, I am gonna show you the full CRUD operations actual on virtual database, which is considered here as array. So let's go to my code that we have done up to last. Okay, whoever joining from this tutorial, so you can check my last videos that is given in my videos description. So I'm requesting you to check that videos. From now on, I'm going to show you the actual database format, what is defined here. Just I'm for our better understanding, I'm making it user database. So just randomly I am defining some values including an ID 1, then another entity is name, say Shubho. Again another entity I am adding age, let's say 28. Okay, then we have to take all those elements in a curly brace. That means it's an array and we are counting as the whole elements as a single entity. Then the same we are adding another entity. Okay, this shortcut is just we have paste shift and alter and then the down array so that it will duplicate it automatically. So I am changing the values. It's 30 and I'm adding another values 3 moon is 32. Okay, so hopefully these three elements is good enough for our practice. Okay, so up to that whatever we have done, we have just prepared our database that is actually defined here as an array. Okay, then we will go for create operation. Whenever I am going to create a user from postman, we can check here that postman, this is a post request. So whenever I am giving a post request, we have to put some data here. Here we have to put some data. Whenever we will give the request, commanding the request to execute by pressing send button, then we will receive some data here. In this function, after checking that method post and URL, we should receive some data in this part. Then after receiving those data chunk, we have to segregate the data, and on basis of those received data, we have to push those data into this array, into this user database. So virtually those received data will be added to user database array. That is our create operation. So let's check how we can do this basic operation. Okay, for checking these operations, we have to, I'm commenting the current statement. We will declare a variable that will take, that will receive the values that comes from postman. Okay, there are two methods that is bind with request parameter. One is request dot on. Whenever request on method, that will check if data is arriving or if data arriving is closed or end. Whenever it is started to data arrive, you have to define those data keyword. So it will understood that the data is arriving from the third party, or we can say postman, and whatever the data is coming, we have to check through a function. We will define a fatter function. So this fatter function will take the received data, and the received data will be assigned to our predefined variable. So let's check. Sorry. This is the received data that comes with the request body, and this data is going through the parameter and working here in the function, and we are storing those data chunk into predefined variable called body, so that we can use this body to further purpose. Okay, so we have understood that this statement is for receiving. We have started to receive. Okay, so how we will understand that data receiving is finished? So whenever we have mentioned that int means data receiving is finished, so what will be the action after ending the receiving of data? So we will write those finishing. So what will be the finishing actions? Finishing actions should be like the data we have received, that is actually whenever we have received data, we have received string data, we have to parse this data to JSON. So this statement will parse the data to JSON format. Okay, then what is the action? We have to add this data to our virtual database that we have already defined here as an array. It is actually an array, but we will consider it as a virtual database, and that is defined as user database. Okay, so we will use push method. So push method will push the received data into the array. So it is already pushed, and we have to give some response, the whatever we have received in this array, to the third party or user, or you can say the postman. So what is the process? The process is response dot write head. So we have to define some parameter in this method. So what is it said? It is said that we have to given the status code. Okay, let's provide the status code. We know that 200 is for the successful activities. So 201 means it is accepted or accepted data. Okay, so we have provided 201. Again, we have to define what is the data type we are providing. So we are providing or using data slash JSON. We are actually using JSON data. Okay, so we have already defined the response write head, and we will finish the response defining some parameters in the response end. So what will be the parameters? So each and every response should be given to the user, that might be a postman, third party software. Okay, so we will provide this data as a string. So what is elements to provide this string data? That is, we have to convert this data to string by stringify method. So we are using this stringify method, and some parameters we have to pass, like success is a whenever this data is provided, it will be successful data. That is, we have to define that success is true. We can define the message. We are just customize this message: user data inserted successfully. Okay, we have find the messages, and after that, the data what we will show whenever data is inserted or anything is inserted, there is a push notification, something like that. Whatever the data we have provided or trying to insert, that message, that data is showing as a push notification. That's why we will provide the data with what we are actually inserting in the database. Data we are going to show in the user end that this data is inserted. That's why we will provide as a response the data we have inserted. So we are giving the data response as body. So body we have inserted here, and it is provided as a response to response data. Okay, so we have finished the create operation. So let's have a check. So how it works. When request with this values from this body. Please be careful about variable. That the value we want to insert, it should be in this format, and we have to give as JSON. Again, this is the JSON value, and we have to give all those parameter, all those entity like double quote ID, it should be in double quote, name should be in double quote, and values which are string, that should be also included in double quote. So let's give a request. Yes, so user data inserted successfully. So insertion part is completed. Now we will go for read operation. That means for CRUD, C for create part is completed, and R for read, and we are going to do the read operation. Let's check. So for the read purpose, at first we have to check the method, that is should be get method, and we have to check the URL also. And response should start with the right head. The status code will be 200, that means successful. Okay, so we will give a content type, content type okay, should be application slash JSON. So application slash JSON should be the content type, and this type should be in capital case. Okay, that is the response right head, and now we will define the response end parameter. So in end parameter, we will provide the entity JSON dot string y, same like previous response that we have defined in create operation. So I'm just copying those part, going to paste here. Simple, that will be a successful case. It will success should be defined as true, and it is user data inserted successfully. Not actually, the message should be like data retrieved successful. So here the data should be the all data of database. Since we are actually doing going through the read operation. Read operation means we will read all sort of data what is stored in the database. So our database is here, user database. Okay, so I am just taking this user database. Okay, and providing here. That means whatever the data is stored in user database, it will insert it to data variable, and this data variable is providing uh, providing to the user end as a response in the response parameter. Okay, so that is the all from the read operation. So we will check from postman. Let's check from postman. So read request. Okay, I am going to, before that we have to run and execute this code. So I am cancel all the operations, pressing at a time Control and C. So it has halt the all executing operations, and now I will execute the current code. So current code execution node-mon space index.js. Okay, so it has successfully executed all the codes, and we haven't received any error. So now it's time to check for get request. That means read operation. So I am executing this request by send method. Yes, see, I have received all data, like this is my data. Check. So if I want to see as JSON, I have to check, I have to select this option JSON. So it will provide you in JSON format. Okay, so we have create request and we have the read request. So we will check if we want to add any data, then if we get that data in our database or not. So I am creating another data. Mul is 45 and its ID is 4. So let's check. Yes, user data inserted successfully. So now I will check if this data is added in the variable or a database or not. See, this data is added here. That means our create operation and read operation both are working fine.